What up guys and gals, Dean here. By very popular demand and maybe even just a little bit of jealousy, I've been asked to share my secrets, to bear all, to teach others how to grow the perfect pumpkin in your own garden. It is so easy to do. If you want to make quite simply the finest homemade pumpkin soup that money can't buy, and I'll share the recipe too, then keep watching. In this series of videos published at intervals throughout this year, I'm going to explain to you how to grow one yourself. And then, when you get to the final video in October, when you're lovingly stroking your own freshly carved, homegrown pumpkin that's sitting on the kitchen cupboard, you can chop, boil, blend, and serve. Notwithstanding a few other ingredients to be revealed, having that dreamy smell of pumpkin soup filling your house, drifting from a saucepan on your very own stove, you'll be kicking yourself for not having tried this before. And if it's simply too much for you, after a month or two of trying to grow one, you think you might want to jack it in and conclude that the task just isn't for you, just chuck them in the bin. It's only cost a few pounds to set this up, so you won't have lost much if you decide you can't hack it. Not a good attitude though for something so simple. Hopefully I've motivated you enough just to give it a go. I'm sure you can imagine the satisfaction of harvesting a pumpkin that looks so incredible that all of your friends and family will be so blown away, impressed at what you've nurtured and grown from scratch, not least because the pumpkins they had no choice but to buy from the supermarket are such pathetic and measly looking excuses for pumpkins by comparison that don't even come close to the size and beauty and smoothness of yours. Awesome tasty soup, awesome scary pumpkin for the kids. Win, win, win. If you're still watching and you think you might just give it a go, let's do this. 5 topics to know to grow outstanding pumpkins from seed effectively, start to finish. Sowing indoors, transferring outdoors, pruning, protecting, harvesting. All dead easy. Sounds like a lot of effort and hard work. Trust me, it isn't. In this video, we're going to focus on topic number 1, sowing indoors. So let's gather the bits we need and make this happen. So topic 1, sowing indoors. Firstly, get yourself a pack of pumpkin seeds. Now obviously there is a wide selection of varieties that you could choose from. Some of them are very small, some of them are ugly, some of them are strange colours, some of them are very, very big. Atlantic Giant here, usually see these entered in size contests. Certainly wouldn't recommend getting one of these for this exercise. The varieties I'm going to recommend are the medium to large size. Obviously we need to be very careful when we use the word large. Large by the UK supermarket standard is okay because they take large to mean this big. But certainly avoid large varieties that grow to the size of a small car. The ones I like are smooth to touch, traditionally round, as opposed to some of the slightly flatter ones. And if we grow them right, they'll have a nice thick flesh, around 3 inches deep. So this was mine last year. You can see with a thickness of just over 3 inches, and as a soup it was otherworldly, as some of you kind taste testers will testify. So the varieties to go for this exercise, which you should find at least one of on the seed racks at most supermarkets, big chain DIY stores and of course garden centres: Racer F1, Gold Medal F1, Rocket F1. They all grow to between 6 to 12 kilograms in weight, big enough to make quality soup with and carve them up to make a scary pumpkin face with should you wish. So I've got this packet of Rocket F1, which I'll do a few of. And I've also got a big load of seeds I kept over from previous years, which I'll plant a few of as well. Packets normally come with between 6 and 10 seeds in, because they're quite big, and it's worth knowing that these seeds are super resilient. So unless you plant them and then do something really silly to them, like totally overwater them or don't plant them properly, all of them will probably eventually germinate and start to grow. So I recommend planting at least 3 or 4 seeds from the packet, and then when they start to grow, you can decide which looks the strongest that you might want to focus your attention on. Also, get a few little pots like this. They need to have holes in the bottom so that the water can drain away, in much the same way rainwater would drain away from them if they were outside. As with growing anything in pots, the last thing you want to do is drown them by not letting the water escape or evaporate in a natural way. So I've also got a few little trays for the pots to sit in, which are a good indicator of when we've perhaps put too much water in. When they overflow, stop pouring. And also I'm going to put them inside these very handy plastic cartons from the supermarket that came with bonus pineapple pieces. So after a quick wash with soapy water and a dry out, they are perfect for catching any runaway water and also quite useful for transporting several pots at a time. Alternatively, you could get some purpose-made ones from the garden centre for about the same price than a tray of pineapple pieces. Obviously, there's plenty of other stuff around a supermarket that you could use for trays. Those you get with chicken breasts in, ice cream, other fruit, whatever. Obviously without holes in, and ideally plastic. Cardboard trays? Nah. Give them a good wash before using them for this, of course. So soil. I would recommend getting yourself a little bag of proper compost for this. You'll find bags of compost down the garden centres, obviously, but you'll also see them in the supermarkets at this time of year. Cost you £5, £6, £7 in most places. You want a small amount to put your seeds in now, and then you can use more of it in later chapters when you move the plants outside. So I'm using a bag of compost that is labelled as being specifically for growing seeds, but general purpose compost is absolutely fine, and it's going to be rich with good quality nutrients, considerably better than grabbing a scoop of soil from your garden, which I wouldn't recommend. So I'm just putting some of my compost into this pot, just enough to almost fill it, ideally with a little bit of distance between the top of the compost and the top edge of the pot though. So I've spilled a bit of it here, but then you don't have to be particularly accurate or meticulous. As I said, if you thought you need to be a pro gardener to grow a pumpkin, you don't. Just a few basic rules to follow. So I'm just going to stick some water in there first so the soil is nice and moist. Quick tip, don't put the seed in first and then the water, because everything is going to get displaced when you put the water in. Then I'm going to make a hole with my finger about an inch down inside the soil, drop a seed in, and then cover it gently back over. And then I'm just going to lightly press down to bring the seed fully into contact with the wet soil. Just another quick splash of water for perfect growing conditions, and the seed will know that it's got all it needs to do its thing. So I'm going to put these trays on a nice wide windowsill somewhere in the house. Ideally you want them where the sun shines in for a few hours each day on sunny days of spring. I like to keep mine in the house so that I can see them and remember to keep watering them. If they get put in the greenhouse, the weather isn't quite warm enough to be spending a whole load of time out there in the garden at the moment, so they might get forgotten if they live out there. Obviously inside the house it'll be a bit warmer with the radiator still on, so the seeds will feel that and think the weather is ready for growing and start to kick out their shoots. So water them 2 or 3 times a week and repeat that. If they take their time to sprout, don't worry, be patient. And that is topic 1 of 5 done. So there we are folks, super simple. When you've copied what I just did and have some seeded pots sitting on your windowsill, you are in the game. So when our shoots have grown and we've got some visible growth, we'll come back for the next video in the series to talk about what to do next on topic 2 of 5, which is transferring outdoors. So we've got more growing advice to cover. It's not as simple as just transferring the germinated seeds into the garden to grow fully and that's it. No, there are a few other important strategies to keep in mind and be aware of. So make sure you don't miss the next video in this series by tapping the subscribe button, and most importantly, click the bell icon so that you get the notification when the next video is published. And then, as soon as this video ends, go get in the car, go buy yourself a packet of pumpkin seeds and get started. So that's all for now. Really looking forward to speaking to you again in the next chapter. So until then, this is Dean out.